Item number 6930. Level 4 Secret. Containment Class Keter. Disruption Class Eki. Risk Class Notice. Special Containment Procedures. The Foundation has created and edited wikis about SCP-6930 to include modified information in order to prevent the public from becoming aware of SCP-6930's anomalous nature or origins. Any wiki or internet post may remark situations regarding SCP-6930's containment or past will be taken down, and the event explained with an alibi. Several bots have been assigned to supervise SCP-6930's livestreams to detect any mention of classified information or possible reference to the Foundation, and will cut the connection to immediately end the livestream. If SCP-6930 refuses to follow the Foundation's instructions, personnel are allowed and encouraged to threaten her with the termination of her contract, or the cease of her contract renewal. However, under no circumstances should her contract be suspended, discontinued, or otherwise terminated, be it temporarily or permanently. Description: SCP-6930 is an entity of unknown nature that manifests on video platforms and social networks, mainly YouTube and Twitter, under the name of Patricia Paty Skinner, or simply Paty. When manifested, SCP-6930 will take the form of a virtual YouTuber, whose avatar has the appearance of a stylized young woman with straight brown hair, also popularly known as Vtuber. Notably, the skin of SCP-6930's avatar is a dark grayish hue with what appears to be a noise texture, and has a series of opaque capital A's across the face, neck, and chest. Her eyes are a brilliant scarlet reddish hue. It is currently unknown if this is related to its actual theoretical appearance. See Addendum 6930-04 for more information. Her clothing varies, although she is often featured in a magenta shirt that has her logo stamped across the front. Recovery Log: SCP-6930 drew Foundation's attention on January 9, 2030, when the audio tracking bot Listy.aic and reportage bot Claire.aic submitted a report with possible mentions to a previously cataloged Level 5 classified anomaly, which were obtained from a live video on YouTube, later confirmed as the debut streaming of SCP-6930. Below is an excerpt from the report. SCP-6930. Alright, we'll be starting with my name. My name is Patricia Skinner, but you can call me Paty, although I've got to admit that it is not quite a Russian name, 'cause I'm Russian, you know. That explains both my accent and my broken English. Yeah, I come from Usinsk. That's spelled as U-S-I-N-S-K. It's, well, I don't want to speak for everybody else that lives there, but my stay in Usinsk wasn't good, to be honest. My place was quite strange. It was a really big facility, and it looked like some sort of big old lab or an office conglomerate. It was also dark most of the time, but truly dark. That's why my eyes are red glowing. They're adapted to see in the dark. I could even say they were designed to see in the dark. But worst of all, it was boring. There were absolutely nothing to do except clean the dust of the place over and over again. There was a TV, but it was pretty much broken, and I couldn't use it. Anyway, long story short, I got tired of being there and I decided to leave, which was unusually easy to do. Don't know how I did not try to do it before. Enough talk about my past. Let's move on to my height. Okay, geez, my birthday. Are we already starting with the complicated questions? Well, I don't quite remember when it was. What? Didn't you hear how was the place where I used to live? Do you really think I'd be counting every single day that passed? However, I think I was either born or created at some point in the 70s. Actually, you know what? Let's change this thing here. Unintelligible babbling. Done! Now it's data creation. Cool, innit? Why creation? Well, I'm not 100% sure, but everything I found points that I was created as some sort of experiment. Why are you writing shocked acting things in the chat? It's cool! Anyway, I think that some smart people were trying to make me, but somehow ended up turning the whole lab into me. I know it's quite to understand, but yeah, you know what? Let's keep moving on to the next build, okay? It seems that I am narrating the plot of Dr. Strangelove, and I don't know what else. Likes? Huh? What do I like? I think I like to exist. I mean, yes. It's nice to be. Nice to exist. You've been existing your whole life, haven't you? How does it feel like? Probably something neat. I've been existing since some time ago, and I'm already feeling good. So yeah, let's write that down. Existing. Alright, look at that, huh? Now, on the dislike section. Well, what can I dislike? Everything exists, and I love existing, and existing things. I think we're going to leave it blank. Ah! Do you know what would be better? Let's write NA in there. I've seen a couple of important people write that when there's a blank field they don't want to leave blank. Moving on. No, wait. Actually, does fearing something means that you don't like it? Okay, then I think there's something I fear and therefore dislike. I have to confess that I'm really scared of ceasing to exist again. Not dying, but stopping being. That's also why I ran away from Russia. Something tells me that, if I go back to that forest, I'll stop existing again. Let's just write forest, okay? The forest of Usinsk. Yeah, the forest. The forest that is located at Usinsk. Yeah, Usinsk Forest. The forest. That one forest. The dark, hidden forest. Forrest Gump! Heh. Alright, let's see. The user D's Knots asks us about what kind of experiment am I. Well, I think it's related to something called the Cold War. I bet you've read that name a lot in your history textbooks, haven't you? Espionage stuff was really popular back then. Yeah, so some grimmish doctors from the Soviet Union were tasked with making a super spy, completely unnoticeable. That explains why I'm grayish, I guess. In any case, they quickly got to work on ringing sound. Oh! Looks like our time is over. But don't worry, we'll be streaming again soon, and we'll finish the story while we play some fun games. It'll be real soon, I promise. Thank you for coming. See you later. Bye. Subsequent attempts to trace the source of the livestream were impossible, as the signal turned out to be, for unknown reasons, impossible to locate. After this, SCP-6930's channel began to be constantly monitored in case another livestream was broadcasted. However, this would not occur until a week later, and the live proceeded normally, with no mention of the origin of SCP-6930 or other related anomalies being made. SCP-6930 would continue to air 1 to 3 livestreams per week, and no mention was made of any of the previously mentioned abnormalities. After months without incidents or possible leaks of information, SCP-6930 was reclassified as neutralized, and tentatively as an extra-normal event. Additionally, manual channel supervision was withdrawn, leaving only the bots Claire.aic and Listy.aic in charge of the daily automatic inspection. Addendum 6930-01. On September 16, 2031, SCP-6930 aired a livestream titled Gaming, Chilling, and Answering Questions. The transmission continued normally until 2/11/39, when allusions to the same anomaly that was mentioned during her initial discovery were again detected. Members of the Foundation's External Relations Department quickly contacted YouTube staff to end the livestream. However, it was reported that due to unknown technical difficulties and unforeseen events, it was impossible to do so. Given this, the Foundation deployed the bot Nombre.aic to run a DTHCP firewall and block the transmission, under the alibi of loss of connection from SCP-6930. In a simplified way, DTHCP firewalls are a variant of DHCP firewalls with thaumatological mechanisms, from which the firewall gets the T in its name, to track the user's Ln vital energy instead of the dynamic IP address, although more modern and broad versions of this variant track both. Multiple livestreams with a similar theme would be broadcasted over the next 2 months. In most of them, mentions and questions were made about the origins of SCP-6930, with Nomer.aic deploying a firewall, causing her to lose connection instantly, regardless of whether she had read the comment aloud or not. Addendum 6930-02. On November 24, 2031, an anomalous event occurred on a global scale that, similarly to one previously occurred in 1990, almost completely interfered with the E patterns of individuals and entities, temporarily disabling the DTHCP firewalls, and making impossible the task of preemptively blocking any livestream carried out by SCP-6930. Members of the Foundation's ERD contacted YouTube's administrative staff again to request the blocking of the permissions of SCP-6930's channel to broadcast livestreams temporarily while the anomalous event dissipated. However, it was reported that, anew, it was impossible to remove the permissions from SCP-6930's channel, so the Foundation then requested that the word Usinsk was temporarily added to the YouTube word blacklist, and any comments that included it could not be made. YouTube staff agreed, and this was implemented a few hours later. The following day, SCP-6930 aired a livestream titled Finishing Campaign Mode. Preventively, multiple members of the Mobile Task Force MOVE-4 debuggers were deployed to monitor the chat section and, if required, send multiple miscellaneous comments to obfuscate any other message in relation to the origins or nature of SCP-6930. This process was repeated for a week and a half, until the abnormal event, now classified as SCP, finally ceased, and the ban of the word was withdrawn. However, 7 days prior to this, it was reported that multiple individuals had noticed this and manifested it on social media, primarily Twitter and Reddit. This was originally dismissed by the Foundation, since it was planned to explain the banning of the word through an alibi, and it was believed that the news would not spread considerably. However, 5 days after the creation of the alibi, an estimated 5,251 Twitter threads and 3,340 Reddit threads were reported talking about the subject, among which multiple users stood out, assuring that there was a connection between the word and the sudden losses of connection on the part of SCP-6930. It should be noted that, although SCP-6930 had only 1.5k subscribers on our YouTube channel and 1.7k followers on Twitter, it is estimated that a total of 13.8k Internet users obtained knowledge of the theories, and a total of 10.2k users found out about the word's ban on YouTube. Mobile Task Force's MOVE-4 debuggers and Gamma-5 red herrings were quickly deployed to locate and amnesticize the subjects involved in the situation, as well as to eliminate all publications or notes related to the event. Following this incident, SCP-6930 was reclassified back to Keter, and manual monitoring of livestream content was implemented again. Additional efforts to intentionally decrease SCP-6930's audience were approved, and began to take place shortly thereafter. Addendum 6930-03. On October 3, 2033, SCP-6930 broadcast a livestream named A Few Words before leaving, which was attended by a total of 404 users, of which 57 were members of the Foundation who were allowed to attend. Below is an excerpt from the livestream. SCP-6930. Hello again. It's me, Paty. Thank you very much for coming. Today's livestream will be something special because it's probably the last one I'll do. Some things have happened these months, and you can imagine that this whole thing of the slow but constant descent of views has made me wonder if I really should keep doing this. Not for nothing, but because I really feel that no matter how much I give my all, it will continue to be a free-fall, and there will come a time when, finally, no one supports me. It might sound stupid in that, and maybe it is, but for a long time, all I knew was silence, and well, there was nothing that really made me feel alive or give me the strength to carry on. But I suppose this is a kind of cycle at the end of the day. Everything that goes up has to come down, and my content is not something really special either, is it? Yes, it is nothing special. Yeah, about the connection drops. Honestly, I never really knew what they were due to. They didn't help in the least. I was desperate to try to constantly reconnect over and over again. Mostly because you are my audience, and I wanted to… I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Anyway, it was nice to be with you one more time. Be good. You are asked by a 2D girl who does not give much more. And also… SCP-6930 takes a deep breath. Even though it ended like this, thank you everyone. I love you all. I won't forget you guys. A cry is heard in the distance. SCP-6930 was tentatively classified and neutralized after this. However, 2 days later, Researcher Core submitted a proposal to lead researcher Dr. Miller regarding SCP-6930. Below is a log of the mail. From Researcher Vanna Core to Dr. Lewis Miller. Subject: Proposal on a possible update to SCP-6930's containment methods. Greetings, Dr. Miller. If I may, I'll say I don't agree at all with our methods and procedures regarding SCP-6930 and her containment. While I'm well aware of her anomalous nature and the possible threat she poses to the Veil's integrity, I believe we could and should have acted differently. I say this for the obvious. Her career has been ruined, and the entire internet has laughed at her in her lowest because of us. Despite knowing that the Foundation has done far more severe things in the past to protect normalcy, I don't think her actions were right in this situation. You just have to see what some users did to illustrate my point. I attach files. I know they are just harmless visual jokes in their own, but considering SCP-6930's previous behavior, it is very likely that they negatively affected her more than we initially believed, worsening her mental state considerably. I've been pondering the situation, and I think I have come up with a solution for this. A containment proposal that doesn't expose the anomaly to further psychological damage that may provoke unknown consequences, nor does it threaten the Veil. The proposal is as follows. We will allow SCP-6930 to continue streaming under our direct control of her actions and management of her social networks through a front company. In exchange, SCP-6930 must comply with certain conditions, including, but not limited to, completely change the fictional background of her character to one that does not mention or resemble any known anomaly. Avoid any mention of topics that may be related to or may concern the SCP Foundation. Deliver to the Foundation a percentage between 40 and 60% of her monthly or weekly earnings, depending on her success. If the proposal is authorized, I personally offer to monitor the progress and evolution of SCP-6930's behavior with my suggestions. If no improvement is observed after half a year, feel free to continue with the current protocols. Paty, Researcher Core. Addendum 6930-04. After the approval was approved, Researcher Core contacted SCP-6930, claiming to be a member of the Front Company, sponsoring creative people. Below is a record of some conversation that took place. Greetings, Paty. I am Ashley Castinger, manager of the audio-visual company, sponsoring creative people, and we take care of finding talented people like you to give them an opportunity to stand out on social media. We have recently become interested in your content and, since we think it could be a good time to also jump into the world of streaming, We would like to offer you a special deal. What do you say about associating with us to increase your reach on social media? We could help you manage your channel, and even sponsor you if you wish. Hi Ashley, thanks for your interest in my content. I'd love to work with you. When do we start? We'd like to know you better first, so please, tell us more about yourself and your character. Oh sure. Well, it started quite a long time ago, about 60 years or so. You may have heard of the Cold War, and the significant involvement of the Soviet Union in it. From what I remember seeing and hearing, a group of various scientists was conducting intensive research on something they called Agente, which means study of the inconceivable, believed to be a term coined by the Progress Research Institute to designate antimemetics. It was related to things that exist, but cannot be perceived. Not sure if you understand what I mean. Yeah, I think I get it. Please continue. They wanted to create some sort of espionage system based on these principles. However, it was still possible to perceive these imperceptible things under certain circumstances, or with certain technologies, and the Soviets didn't want to risk being discovered, because that could lead to the capture of the spy in question, and the enemy side could decipher their system with reverse engineering. However, a new method was proposed. It allowed only certain individuals to precede the spy. This method was named Tokoldiatebia. Lit. Only for you. However, despite being a plausible project, it was finally rejected. Why? I don't know. All I know is that the project was discarded in favor of a different project. Project Katyusha. Project Katyusha. The purpose of this new project was to create something that technically did not exist, but could still perform actions. It sounds complicated to understand, and honestly, not even I know how it works, much less how they achieved it, but they did. I am the result of this. I am, and at the same time, I am not, an inexistence to which an attempt was made to give shape and character, appearance, and essence. I had non-existed practically forever, but it wasn't until I became self-aware that I realized it was painful, to say the least. I was a shapeless, amorphous mass screaming in agony, but no one seemed to even notice. If they were aware, they did a good job of ignoring it. My God, that sounds terrible. It was. They kept testing and analyzing me, trying to understand what nothingness was, although they were far from it. After all, not even I understand it. They were smart though, I'm sure that, if given enough time, they would have been able to comprehend what I am. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Instead, something went terribly wrong. Why not? What happened? I don't think I know exactly what was it, and no one saw it coming. One day, in less than a second, a great void appeared and expanded violently, assimilating everything it touched, erasing it from existence, but not from perception. In the blink of an eye, the entire facility and a big portion of the outer forest ceased to be. The void stopped expanding as quickly as it appeared. I remember the scientists, and I feel terrible for them all. Despite not existing, each one perceived the others, which shaped them within their own non-existence. They all tried to escape, but none of them could, and things were just beginning. What do you mean? The despair of being trapped inside the building made them all fight against each other very quickly. It first started as small verbal fights, but they gradually increased until the men's attitudes became unrecognizable. They all began perceiving each other in gruesome and negative ways, distorting themselves further and further by every word that was said. But they weren't like that. I think what consumed them had to do with it. That something filled them with hatred, and they soon ended up screaming even louder than I ever screamed. Eventually, They all melted into nothingness and pain, and joined the void that was surrounding them. That's terrible. What happened after that? Once they were gone, I thought I'd be gone too. I thought they were the ones keeping me conscious due to their perception of me, but as soon as they vanished, I realized I was wrong. I didn't cease to be, even though there was nobody left to perceive me. Or maybe the void was staring back at me, knowing I was there. Perhaps the void was aware of me, and hated me deeply as it whispered, "Traitor." Eventually, I decided to face the same obstacle all the scientists have faced long ago, the barrier that kept me from escaping. I pushed my way through the void that was pulling hard on me and begging me to stay. Like my screams, I ignored it, and finally managed to get out. But maybe I was never trapped, and perhaps there never was a barrier. After all, the only real walls are the ones your mind projects. But what happens when there is no mind left to hinder itself? Once I was out, I began exploring the world. I was alive, and I felt amazing. I could be anything I wanted. I could be anybody I wanted. I even met nice people. Really? Who were these people? After some time existing, I found out about this streaming stuff, and I thought it was nice. You play something, talk with people, and people like you. Sounded good to me. I guess that's the story of Paty. Whoa, that's, complex. Your creativity amazes us. I've been spellbound reading the progress of the story. That dark and noir touch of clandestine experiments is something that hasn't been explored much lately. What about you? What can you tell us about yourself? What do you mean? That's my own story. My character is, well, myself. Wait a second. Oh god. Yeah, I tried to take refuge and forget everything with the streaming, but, well, I think you know what happened recently. We are truly sorry to hear about everything you had to experience, but don't worry. We will do everything we can to give you a second chance to shine. Thank you so much for this. What do you think of the little backstory we have made for your character? We think it could be a popular thing to do, if it is approached appropriately. I like it. Cloverfield sounds like a friendly name, although I do not see very well how the aesthetics of the character could fully fit into the story. That's the neat part. We can help you make a completely new one that fits. I really don't feel like my avatar requires a complete redesign, although there are a few things I'd like to change. I don't know if it is possible. Of course. What are you thinking about? I was thinking of a new hairstyle, and maybe changing my beret. Perhaps new clothes are appropriate too. That sounds great. Anything else? Maybe the color of my eyes, to a more beautiful purple. Other than that, I think I'm happy with my current design. Alright. Hey, if you don't mind, could you tell us a little about the reason for your avatar? Like, why does it have some unusual physical characteristics? Sure. As I've told you before, the avatar is supposed to be a cartoonish human-like version of myself. I just added the hair and the cute girly shape. Everything else is pretty similar to how do I look like. Including the noise effect on your skin? Yup. It was kinda hard to do, but looks nice to me. That's quite impressive. Anyway, if everything regarding the character has been clear, I would like to move on to the next point. Guidelines and Code of Conduct. Is that okay? Sure. We'll start with the basics. Words you shouldn't mention. I guess you have a mental list of things you shouldn't say because they're rude or inappropriate, right? Yes. Will even more words that I shouldn't say be added? Just a few. But we can help you find words that have a similar meaning, in case you need to use them. The first one is foundation. If you need to use it to say when something was created, you can say date of establishment. If you need to use it to mention a big group of people, you can say organization or conglomerate, okay? The next one is Usinsk. There has been already an incident with that word some time ago. You should understand why it isn't appropriate. These are the main words that you should avoid. Now, I'll show you some others that are also part of the list. Well, just to wrap this up, we would like to ask you one last thing. What was, approximately, your monthly income rate during the previous streams you made? And how much do you aspire to get after joining? Income rate? What do you mean? You know, how much money you get during the streams of a month on average. That includes additional related earnings. The donation things and stuff? Yes, you don't need to be extremely precise. A rough approximation might do the trick. I would say that I was earning approximately K per month at the peak of my career, although the amount was gradually decreasing. Anyways, I really don't need it. I would agree to receive a minimum just for the feeling of getting something. So you really don't need anything at all? I don't. But it's nice when you know you've got something for yourself. Is that weird? I don't think so. Although, I would like you not to externalize it too much. Korosho. Okay. Nice. In that case, and if everything has been agreed, welcome to the team, Claire Cloverfield. Heart emoji. After this, a group of Site-198 personnel was appointed to be part of SCP-6930's crew. Below is a summary list. General Manager Addison J. Asnavor. Fictitious name for Dr. Polyrhythm Hershey. Researcher Vanna Kaur was also involved. Fictitious name for Dr. Polyrhythm Hershey. Researcher Vanna Kaur was also involved. Illustrator Charles Baserfield. Fictitious name for Researcher Armoro Mondragon. Technical Assistant Reed Sawyer. Fictitious name for Researcher Enna Tech Nolan. The bots Kirby.aic and Arco.aic are also involved. Marketing and Advertising Gina T. Gomez. Fictitious name for Dr. Sasha Durand. Psychological Aid Mary Landon. Fictitious name for Dr. Evangeline Rainbow Campbell. Booking and Contact Harlow F. West. Fictitious name for Dr. Justine Everwood. Stream Chat Moderator Marshall Clayton. Fictitious name for Agent Mike E. Costello. Addendum 6930-05 on April 7, 2034, and thanks to the influence of the Foundation, SCP-6930 was, along with other virtual YouTubers, included in the generation of HoloLive productions, and reached 6.5 million subscribers shortly after. Additional notes: Look at My Girl Grow. Researcher V. Core.